Anthony Richardson this past week named the starting quarterback once again after the Joe Flacco experience. What a wonderful 2 weeks that was. Richardson in this game against the Jets, 28-27, major comeback win, really good fourth quarter, really good final drive here. 20 for 30 in this game, 227 passing yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. He also had 32 yards on the ground. As you can see there on the screen, 88.5 adjusted completion percentage, highest single game completion percentage of his career. What did you think about Anthony Richardson? I'll dive into the sort of the final drive and the final quarter a little bit with them becoming victorious in this game. But just overall, your thoughts on Richardson learning his lesson, I guess. Some self-reflecting after being put on the bench. What do you think, Seth?
Well, first of all, let's pat ourselves on the back and say that when we talked about the Joe Flacco experience 2 weeks ago, we said both of us were like, "Why? Like, what's the point of this?"
No point.
And it was bad, and it was like predictably bad. Like I just all the numbers, all the tape told you that Joe Flacco was not an elite quarterback, not even close to an elite quarterback, below average quarterback, and so this was predictable. And so you have Anthony Richardson who comes back and kind of does the, for where he is in his career, the high end version of what he is right now. There's still some misses. There's still some like maddening misses, and like you're like, is your like brain connected to your arm sometimes? Like, are you seeing where the receiver is? Like, it's crazy. And then there's such high end throws, and I think we're going to go back to the same stuff we talked about when he got benched, which is just like, he doesn't take sacks, a lot of sacks. He's able to throw the ball in compromised situations, which he did. I mean, there's the one he throws in the flat to Josh Downs where he's being knocked over basically, and Josh Downs is able to like get the ball easily and make a move and get a first down. But there's also ones where the pocket's collapsing and he's throwing like a 10 to 19 yard in that intermediate range, like crossing route or some sort of horizontal route, which is one of the things that we said was really bad. Like, he had massive issues throwing to guys who are running across like horizontally and keeping them in stride. And he was a lot better. Like, he wasn't missing. I'm not saying he was throwing to everyone in stride perfectly, but at the same time, he wasn't missing like he has before. And that's a big, that to me is a big thing. And like, Shane Steichen's going to put together a good offensive game plan. Love Shane Steichen. He's done it with a bunch of different quarterbacks now and a bunch of different teams. Like, he can do it. And so if you just get like that tick more accuracy, which is what we saw against the Jets. Now the Jets are a zombie defense. They're a zombie team right now. Like, that is a team that doesn't want to be there anymore. But with that said, like, Richardson proved that there's a path here. I'm not saying he's there yet, but there is a real path here that we didn't need to not see for 2 weeks, right? Like, we didn't need to see Flacco for 2 weeks, and now we're back. And I don't know if this is a potentially a playoff team. They're sitting there on the bubble right now.
They got a chance to get in. I think that a lot of people look at the AFC right now and they go, okay, well, with the Bengals done, the AFC is basically locked. Like, the teams that are in the hunt in the AFC, those are the ones who are going to make it. I don't, maybe most likely to make it, but the Colts are only one game back of the Broncos. And for as good as the Broncos are playing, obviously, it's not like I think the Broncos are going to win out. So they're going to be ups and downs for the Broncos. And if the Colts can get hot a little bit here down the stretch, like, I think the Colts have a chance to be one of these wild card teams. I do.
Yeah, and then I would just love to see that. Like, let's put this guy in some tough situations. A playoff push and then potentially a playoff game or multiple playoff games. We'll see. I would just like to see that and see where, if that can unlock some more. He needs to just put together some good games in a row. He's got to put together some good accuracy games in a row. I think, again, that goes by the same thing. I'm not saying he's making the great decision on every play. That'll come. It's just, for me, the accuracy has to be something that we can hang our hat on, and it hadn't been there, and it was just like legitimately one of his better games in terms of accuracy that we've seen in his career.
Yes. No, 100% it was. And, when I looked at Richardson and when we were talking about when he got benched, I used the phrase, it feels like you're stepping over $100 bills to pick up singles. Like, that's what it felt like with Joe Flacco. Like, I guess, again, unless the locker room stuff was why you benched him, like unless like the offensive line came to you in a private meeting and said, get this guy out of here. Like he's not tough enough. He's not mentally tough enough. He's not physically tough enough. We're not going to battle with him. Unless that happened, the whole Flacco back and forth was very strange, because I think there were a lot of people out there who look at Anthony Richardson and look at how inconsistent he is right now and have said and would say, no, Joe Flacco is the better quarterback. Start the better quarterback. You go start Joe Flacco. It's games like this one against the New York Jets. And everybody can say whatever they want about how the Jets aren't the defense that we thought that they were going to be going into the season. The Jets being bad doesn't take away the throws that Richardson made. The tight window throws, the good decisions, like all of this stuff. Like the tight window throws and everything is like, oh, okay, like the Jets are bad. If there's a defensive back that's still hanging over you and you're making a tight throw, hitting a football through a football-sized hole, like that doesn't take away from it. Just because the Jets haven't been a great defense this year doesn't mean that individual play was bad. Now, I'm not trying to be too much of an overly eager Anthony Richardson defender, but there were multiple plays in this past game where, just like you said, it's the off-script stuff where first quarter, for example, there's a 1st and 10 situation where Michael Pittman Jr. is running a, it's not quite, it's like a deep over route, like a deep crosser essentially, in between the linebacker level and the safety level. The Jets are playing cover 3, so it's closed coverage. There's a safety right in the middle of the field, and he's got to layer it in between where the linebacker is and where that single high safety is over the middle of the field. He gets pressure in his face right up the middle, and he doesn't even really get to complete his drop back, and off of his back foot, he just flicks it on a frozen rope straight to Michael Pittman Jr.'s hands, right beyond where the linebacker was, and with enough velocity to get there before the safety recognized it to come up and lay a hit on Pittman Jr. And Pittman Jr. gets hit kind of right after he catches the ball, but there's no play on the ball to be made because he is that type of a talent. Joe Flacco is not doing that for you. You could have felt better maybe that the offense was going to be a little bit more on script, that he was going to be a little bit more accurate of a quarterback, but you would take so much of a diminishing return on not having those explosive plays, not having that athletic ability to be able to make those kinds of throws off platform and when things aren't ideal. And that to me is so valuable with Anthony Richardson. He's barely been a starter in the NFL. He started, 4 games last year, and then it was a handful of games this year. He even missed some time this year. So the judgment on Richardson to me is crazy. Like, a lot of people felt as though, if you start Joe Flacco, you're guaranteed to make the playoffs. One, who cares anyways? You're making the playoffs in the wild card round, and then you're getting bounced by the Chiefs in the first round? Who cares? You're trying to win a Super Bowl one day. You drafted this guy number 4 overall. You're trying to unlock your franchise quarterback. The conversation was just insane to me, and I loved what I saw in this game because, the Colts are down going into the last drive of the game, all right? Last drive of the game for Anthony Richardson, 3 for 3, 60 yards passing, 91.2 passing grade. Fourth quarter overall, last quarter for Anthony Richardson, 8 of 10, 129 passing yards. He had his big-time throw in the fourth quarter and a 91.3 passing grade. That was fantastic. Now, to quote my co-host, Dalton Wasserman, from the Grades Release Show, he said, hey, I used to say this to my players when I was coaching. Great job. Do it again. And that consistency is obviously where we are with Anthony Richardson. That's what we want to see. We want to see him do it again. But it is games like this, it is performances like this that are why you have to keep starting him. Because right before we started recording the show, you said yourself, there's a great quarterback in there somewhere. Now, whether or not we can reel it out of him consistently, that's to be seen. But you have that potential. So much of this league is up to chance. We talk about that with the NFL draft all the time. There's no sure things. There's no, I draft this guy. And a phrase that I hate probably the most when it comes to draft cliches is, you draft this guy and you won't have to worry about that position for the next 10 years. When is that ever the case? 10 years? Come on. You'd be lucky to get one contract out of these guys. And so it's just, again, when you have a player that has the potential that Anthony Richardson does, you don't give up on it. And this week was a reminder, and it was a cool reminder, and I'm glad he was able to come out and really hit the ground running after not being in the starting lineup because he's fun. Because this is a fun quarterback to watch. And I'd love for him to keep playing well because I enjoy watching him. So there you go. There's my Richardson rant.
That's the thing. That's the main thing. I want to see this guy play every week because there's something great that happens. There's 3 crazy, insane plays that happen every time Richardson plays. So I want to see that. I'm not a Colts fan, so I could be like, I want to see those 3 crazy plays and then them lose. I don't care whether they win or lose.
We just talked about Josh Allen, right?
Yeah.
Why would we not give a quarterback who is of Josh Allen's archetype the chance to be Josh Allen?
That's the point. Because like you can't. Josh Allen gives you a chance to win a Super Bowl every single season, like Mahomes, like Justin Herbert, like Burrow. I mean, there's a lot of contextual factors here, like Lamar. And I know only one of those guys have won a Super Bowl of them mentioned, but trust me, these guys give you a chance to win a Super Bowl every year. And when you have the middle-class quarterback who gets propped up by a great supporting cast or a great offensive coordinator, and we've seen that time and time again, eventually the wheels fall off. And eventually, can you go in with that type of quarterback and win 4 straight games or 3 straight games and a Super Bowl in the playoffs and do it every single year, be in that conversation every single year? It's really, really hard. And a guy like Anthony Richardson gives you that ability if he hits. And the thing is, if he doesn't hit, there's a lot of guys out there. Like Shane Steichen almost took Gardner Minshew to the playoffs last year. Like there's guys out there who you can just get the job done with. But if Anthony Richardson hits, that's the guy you want. So you always have to take your chances on this guy.
That's why I don't understand. I think people just like want to be right about their draft priors, which is okay. Like I think
which is 100% true.
Right. And like I do that all the time as a draft analyst. So people are wanting to be right about Anthony Richardson's draft priors and they go like, "Oh, see, like I told you he was bad. Get him out of there." Why would you do that? Why would the Colts do that? That's completely counterproductive. He is a quarterback who gives you a massive ceiling. And here's the thing. If you give him the ample amount of time and he does not prove worth it for you, you go draft another one. But what is changing him for Joe Flacco or anything like that? That was the thing. It's, again, if we go back to like, okay, he tapped himself out and the team was pissed about it and you sort of like had to bench him almost as like a life lesson type of a thing, like a quarterback lesson, like being a leader type of a lesson. I actually get that point. It's the people who are like, okay, finally, good, they benched him. He's bad. Come on. What are we doing? Josh Allen's right there. He had 2 bad years in the NFL before he became an unstoppable elite quarterback, which he has been ever since. Anthony Richardson actually gives you that prototype. It's actually the same blueprint. Why wouldn't you try to see if he's going to strike gold? And the thing is, if he doesn't at the end of his rookie year, you draft another one. Who cares? Why are you trying to give him the early hook? What does it matter? Just so you can tell yourself you're right? Whatever. Anyways, rant over. We talk about Anthony Richardson so much, I feel like I just go in circles about all that. But thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. And if you don't have a PFF Plus subscription, you can get one to see all the premium stats that we talked about here on the show, plus the expert betting and fantasy advice over at subscribe.pff.com. The description is also right below, so if you are not a PFF Plus subscriber, you can become one today.